Hello, and welcome to What's New in Onshape for Education. I'm Peter Zink from the PTC Education team, and I'm delighted to be here today. If you have any questions during this talk, please post them into the chat. The chat is being moderated by Wana Karvatsky from Bucharest. She leads our Global Education Customer Success team. In this session, we're going to talk about some of the new education features and enhancements and content and curricula that we've recently created for educators and students who use Onshape. Before coming to PTC, I was a faculty member at Boston University in the mechanical engineering department for many years, where I focused on teaching engineering design, automation, and manufacturing. And I taught a CAD course using PTC Creo. Today, I help to lead the PTC education team, bringing PTC's technologies to students around the globe. I'm proud to be part of PTC and Onshape, and I'm delighted to be able to represent our teams here today to talk about the exciting new features and enhancements to Onshape for Education. I'm joined today by my colleague Naomi Edwards, who will be introducing some of the new content and curricular resources that we've developed to help Onshape teachers and learners succeed. Naomi?
Hi, thanks, Peter. Yeah, I'm a curriculum development specialist here at PTC. But before I joined, I spent 15 years in a high school classroom teaching many different courses, including mathematics, computer science, and robotics. Robotics is where I got heavily involved in design in the classroom, and I even went on to start a first robotics team, which I'm still running today. And we continue to use Onshape to make our robots today. What I get to do around here, which I love, is authoring curriculum that supports you in the classroom. I get to support teachers, mentors, and coaches with Onshape, as well as bring my perspective and valuable experience from the classroom. And I'm really excited to show you some of the content and curricula that we have. But at this point, I'm going to pass it back to Peter.
Thanks, Naomi. Many of you here are probably familiar with Onshape, but in case you're not, I want to do a quick overview just to let everyone know that Onshape is the #1 fastest growing system in the CAD market. It's being adopted 10 times faster than the average CAD tool, and there are over 3 million Onshape users, and thousands more sign up every week. If you've never used Onshape before, it's important to understand that it's fundamentally different from any other CAD software. Onshape is a true cloud-native platform. So like Google Docs and other cloud-native platforms, this enables real-time collaboration and document sharing, all in a cutting-edge professional CAD modeling system. We see the combination of these technologies as game-changing for the future of both agile product development and STEM education. The best part, though, about Onshape is that it's free for students and educators at any level. It only takes seconds to create a free education account at onshape.com/edu. And because it's cloud native, it runs in the browser. So there's nothing for you or your students to download, install, and no licensing required. So students can get started modeling right away on any device. And beyond the free plan, there's also an education enterprise plan, often used by larger schools and districts. The enterprise plan includes additional features such as single sign-on and bulk user management, as well as data analytics to allow teachers to see exactly what students are working on, who they are working with, and how long they've been working. I'll show more details of this further in the talk. Educators can go to onshape.com/educators to learn more about the Education Enterprise Plan and to reach out to our customer success team. I also want to take a moment to recognize our valuable partners. We work with curriculum developers, professional organizations, student competition teams and organizations, and technology providers to help our Onshape education users have the resources and support they need to be successful learning and teaching with Onshape. Some of the features and resources we're going to talk about today were created jointly with these partners, and we're very grateful for these valuable collaborations. Please reach out to us if you'd like to learn more about any of these valuable partnerships. Now I'll talk about some of the most recent and exciting Onshape education features and enhancements. Most of these updates originate from feedback we've received from students and educators. First on the list today is a new set of features we call classes and assignments. Thousands of educators use Onshape every day in their classrooms. And today they often use a combination of teams and folders to manage the CAD class work. In general, this works, but we've gotten lots of good feedback from these instructors that they have some challenges keeping track of all of their students' work this way. Many of you here today are educators and have used Onshape, so you know that Onshape makes it really easy for students to share their work with their teachers. But those of you with large classes or multiple classes understand, I'm sure, that there can be a lot of documents to keep track of by the end of the year. For example, in the image shared here, uh, this teacher has created a folder for each student's work to keep them separate from the others. There's assignments mixed with non-assignments, and over time, this leads to a long list of items to search through and lots of overhead for an instructor to set up and maintain. So to address those issues, we created classes and assignments to help ease the burden of managing classes of students and CAD-based assignments. Students can be easily added to a class by email address, both individually or in bulk with a CSV, and any number of assignments can be created for each class. Other instructors and teaching assistants can be added as well, and role-based permissions automatically control the document visibility so that just as we'd expect in a traditional class setting, student documents are shared automatically with any educator in the class, but each student only sees their own work. In classes and assignments, there are 3 different assignment types that can be created. In the first, each student receives their own blank document for the assignment. In the second, an educator can choose a starter document, and each student receives a copy of that document. A starter document, like any Onshape document, can contain PDF images, video, and of course, Onshape part studios, drawings, and assemblies that educators can leverage to create a framework to help guide students along. In both of these cases, the students will see a submit button at the top of their assignment document that they can use to send it to the educator, to the instructor when they're done. For the third option, the student is allowed to choose what to submit for the assignment. So they can choose any document that they have edit access to, a document shared with the project team or a document from an earlier assignment. And in all cases, when students submit this to the instructor, they can submit multiple submissions, but each time the submission creates a date-stamped, immutable Onshape version, so the instructor can see if the student got the assignment done on time. And again, because these are Onshape documents, students and educators can also use the integrated document comments feature to discuss the assignment together and to help each other out at any time. So as a former educator, I know how helpful it is to be able to have insight about how students are progressing during class. And as I mentioned, all Onshape enterprises include analytics that help to provide that insight. For classes and assignments, we created new analytics that provide easy access to these insights. And we integrated this information directly into the classes and assignments dashboard for educators. So now the information you need is right where and when you need it. So instructors can add and track student work for an individual student, for the work that student has done across a whole class, or for just one assignment. And each student's assignments documents can be easily accessed by the instructor just by clicking on the link and reviewed to see how they're progressing. You can even see which features your students have used to create their models right in the analytics views. For a broader view of class performance, the class analytics dashboard allows quick insight into how the whole class is doing. Together, I think all of these analytics enable both academic integrity as well as individual student coaching. It's really easy to see which students are struggling or which assignments maybe need to be revisited because they're taking the whole class a really long time to complete. So the classes and assignments features were included in all education enterprises at the beginning of this year, and there have already been thousands of assignments created and turned in. And overall, we've heard great feedback from educators that they love this new way to manage their student work in Onshape, and we'll continue to add additional features to make this even more useful in the future. The next great feature I want to highlight is simulation. Traditionally, design iteration with finite element analysis-based simulation required taking a model out of the CAD software where it was designed, setting up and running simulation software, and then returning to CAD to make changes. And as many of you know, this cycle can be a really slow process and complex, and means that even getting simple insights on potential design issues can take hours or days. So we've heard for years from students and educators that they'd like a faster, simpler, more integrated way to do basic simulation of their Onshape models. And in good news, as some users have noticed, all education enterprise plans gained this functionality a few months ago. As you can see in this short video, simulation tools are now included natively in any Onshape assembly. Fast, easy, and accurate, Onshape simulation provides quick, iterative design feedback that refreshes the simulation results immediately upon changes and enables seamless, rapid design improvements. So for those familiar with more complex simulation tools, in Onshape simulation, there's no need to create meshes or control them to create better or faster simulations. We think this sort of straightforward integration will be a perfect introduction of basic simulation for students learning about agile product design. There'll be a little more discussion about simulation in the next session today. One of the most frequently requested features for Onshape in education is CAM, computer-aided manufacturing. And I'm delighted to announce that the next generation cloud CAM technology will be available in education enterprise plans sometime this calendar year. This will allow users to prototype and test products using modern CAM technologies, including 2 to 3 axis toolpaths that can be generated in seconds, a fully integrated tool library, part or assembly-based machining, including machine simulation, and an included library of post-processors means there are no required add-ins or other databases. Onshape CAM will keep track of all of your tools from any workspace, and like all Onshape documents, CAM toolpaths can be versioned and branched to allow users to explore alternative design solutions. So we are all very excited for this capability and can't wait to hear from our users once it's released. Last year, we received lots of requests also from educators looking for simple rendering tools to use with their students. So we did some agile product development and came up with a simple solution that allows any Onshape user to export their part or assembly as a GLTF formatted file. The GLTF file can then be imported into any number of free GLTF viewers, many of which allow basic rendering functions such as lighting control, color, texture mapping, and inclusion of high dynamic range backgrounds. So we've also created a tutorial walkthrough to help users try this solution themselves, and Juana will paste a link to that tutorial in the chat. We hope that you'll give it a try and let us know how it goes. The last new feature for today is a new VEX part library app. We're very proud to support the tens of thousands of students who build robots as part of the VEX robotics competition program. And this feature was designed to make VEX robot design much easier for them. Students building these robots often include CAD models of commercial off-the-shelf parts into their complex robot designs, and this app compiles 14 public Onshape documents that were created and are curated by our education team, and includes over 130 commercial off-the-shelf parts. Many of those parts are configurable, so there are thousands of possible variations. So this app provides a much more efficient way for your students to find and add these parts to their Onshape documents, and a free subscription to the Onshape app in the App Store is all that's required. So that's it for me. Next up, Naomi will talk about some exciting new education content. Naomi?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Those are great new features. So we're going to take some time now to talk about some great content and curricula that we provide. And we're going to set the stage for that, though, I want to take a moment and introduce our team a little bit. So, who are we and why are we uniquely poised to support you? First of all, we're a diverse team and we have very experienced educators. We have over 100 years of teaching experience at the university, the high school level, and the middle school levels. So, we know the struggles that you are facing when you try to teach CAD in the classroom. But we also know how much time you spend trying to create content for your students. We also have an innovation team. This part of the team is dedicated to exploring new techniques, new visualizations, and new and unique ways to engage learners with Onshape. Specifically, they work to support thought leadership and academic research, and they focus on applications in the classroom. Also, we never stop making content. So keep checking the Learning Center to find out, and I'm going to speak more about where you can find that at the end. But speaking of great educator content, our Intro to CAD course was introduced last year at Onshape Live. And so you may have already seen it before, but we have some new updates. In particular, Unit 1 has been totally reworked to give students a chance to engage with CAD and its purpose right from the get go. So hopefully, you don't have to answer so many of those questions that ask, when are we ever going to have to use this? We also updated our assessments for easier grading, and we included a standards crosswalk. So if you've already made early copies of the curriculum, you might like to check out the updates that are in there. And what does it include? Well, we have 9 weeks of content, and that's about 45 hours of curricular work in the classroom, 5 units. It includes everything that you need to kick off a class, as you can see in the blocks there on the screen. These are also Google Docs. That means that you can add them to any LMS quickly and easily. If you'd like answer keys, go ahead and email us at curriculumsupport@ptc.com. The email is located there at the top of the screen. And finally, this curriculum is always free. So, what are educators saying about this curriculum that we have? The feedback we've gotten comes from all kinds of classrooms. Some are using just select units out of this. Some are using the curriculum to flesh out existing curriculum and take it farther through the school year. And others are learning right along with their students. It's so complete that even a beginner can implement this. And we're still listening to your feedback and we're continuing to update the curriculum to better fit your needs. So, if you find something you'd like to bring to our attention, go ahead and check out the feedback form at the bottom of each page of the teacher guides. We're listening. Next, let's introduce a brand new curriculum that we offer for this year. The CAD for Robotics curriculum is officially out in the Learning Center. This was meant for FRC, FTC, and VEX teams. However, if you use another robotics program and you use similar components, this will still work. So, how can this curriculum get used? Well, you could use it in a classroom if you have a course that's during the school day. This is an option for you. Or maybe you're an extracurricular team, competitive team. You can use this if you're looking for a way to train your members for the season. And what do we love about the curriculum? Well, we have a lot of experience on the team. Some of our developers were former students themselves, and they were in competitive robotics. And many of us continue to mentor teams today that we know all the struggles that you have to go through to get a robot working in a tight timeline. This curriculum, of course, shows you how to use Onshape and some of the specifics of designing, but more importantly, it uses an approach to learning CAD that's specific to the competitive teams when you're on the tight timeline. You can pick and choose the units as you see them there on the screen, or you can go ahead and use the entire sequence. And lastly, teams often ask us, how do we go about organizing the design of a robot in Onshape? In the collaboration unit, we address how to organize your team, how to collaborate within Onshape, and how to be a more effective robot design team overall. And we know that many seasons have already kicked off, maybe even towards the end of the season. There might be some really helpful information for your upcoming off season training, maybe some late season manufacturing, as well as how to communicate your design. You might be looking for ways to help show off your robot to potential sponsors, community members, or even judges. So, those were the two big curricula we wanted to introduce today. But let's get into some other resources that we also offer. In our Learning Center, you'll find 3 other types. And because sometimes you're not looking for a full curriculum, you might just be needing some specific things. Lessons are going to be 1 to 2 day topics that include an Onshape document with embedded lesson content for students, as well as a teacher's lesson plan that goes with it. We know sometimes you need lessons for students to practice specific skills, or maybe you're looking for an activity due to an unforeseen schedule change. And this will fit the bill for that. We also have projects. These are larger and longer curricular work, and they focus heavily on a product in the end. You might like to spend 6 to 8 weeks working through an engineering design process and let students manufacture in the end. This will fit that bill. Teacher tips are something that you might need to look into if you're just looking for a quick tip on something, whether it's about how to structure a project-based learning activity or something in the Onshape, in how to use Onshape specifically. These are great to check out to get valuable nuggets without having to wade through volumes of documentation. Now that you've seen the various resources we offer, let's check out what's new in certification. Some of you may already know that we have had industry recognized certification for a while, but now we have a practice exam for you to use with your students or maybe for yourself. There's 2 parts to the practice exam document. The first half is going to go over all the exam logistics and many of the details you need as an educator trying to administer this in the classroom. You'll find out what domains to whitelist, how you receive your results, and maybe even how to get the test started. The second part includes the full exam, and that provides modeling questions and multiple choice questions, just like the real thing. Answers are, of course, included at the end of the document, and this is a great test to see if your students are ready for the actual exam. This practice exam can be found on the certification page. Just click on the exam prep tab and click the linked banner. So, how can we help you and your students get prepared to take the certification exam? We have a great partnership with ITEA. They have developed this Onshape Certification by Design course, which fits right in with their excellent curricula and teacher training. It's international, so it works both inside and outside of the US. It's designed to take your students through all topics on the associate's exam, and it's meant to fill about 18 weeks of content in the classroom. You can use this as a standalone for intensive prep, or maybe you want to integrate it into another Engineering by Design course to strengthen Onshape skills and prepare for the exam. The great part about this is at the end, you can be confident knowing that you've addressed all the skills that are needed. And we've seen great success with the teachers out of the first cohort who have completed the training. So this is such a great option to use in your classroom as you get students ready. But how do you as a teacher get professional development so that you can teach the course well? ITA also offers a lot of professional learning opportunities. ITA Scholastics is where you get to complete the entire Onshape Certification by Design course as a student, which prepares you for the exam, as well as teaching it in the classroom. Courses are run synchronously and asynchronously for about a semester, and it's a great way to grow professionally, obtain your own industry recognized certificate, and then earn those valuable professional learning hours and credits, which we know sometimes are a little hard to get to. The Authorized Trainer Institutes are where you get to take it a step farther and become an authorized teacher effectiveness coach in those Engineering by Design courses. You get to learn how to lead professional development, gain access to further training opportunities, and obtain even more professional development hours and credits. And there's still time to get registered for the next session, but I believe that timeline is coming up right away. So take a look at their website. Engineering by Design workshops. These are the 1 to 4 day intensive trainings that you can have provided for you and your staff. They offer a variety of options for those, and one of those includes in person. They're extremely flexible, so you might like to take a look at their website to find out more. So that's a lot of new resources that I just went over. So where can we find all of these? The Onshape Learning Center is located under learn.onshape.com. Go ahead and click under the educator resources and you'll find everything that I went over plus a whole lot more. And what are the things that we have? Self-paced learning pathways. This is a great way for you to build your Onshape skills, or maybe you want to assign those pathways to students so that they can practice as well. The curriculum that we already went over, both Intro to CAD and the new CAD for Robotics competitions will be located there. We also have lessons, projects, and teacher tips, like I mentioned. And finally, every webinar we've done has been recorded and is located there because we know that attending a webinar on your busy schedule is not always an option. So with that, I want to thank you all for listening in on what is new in the education space here at Onshape. Peter and I are delighted that we had the chance to share these new resources and cool new features with you. We hope you get a lot out of them for your own classroom. But now we want to open up for some Q&A.
Great job, Naomi. It was awesome to hear about all that new content for our educators. We've got a few questions already in. The first one, question from Mary, was, I didn't know about classes and assignments. Is that available in iOS? And unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's not yet available on tablets, but we'll take that into consideration and think about developing that going forward. Another question that came in is, will simulation or CAM come to the basic standard EDU plan eventually? And we certainly would love to do that. We understand how important and valuable those two tools would be for all of our Onshape users in education. We don't have plans to do that at the moment, but we certainly will think about it and see if it's possible. We understand how valuable that could be. Another question, and Naomi, maybe you have more insight into this one, is what ages or grades is Onshape recommended for?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, Obviously, it's a full-featured CAD platform, so it's great for university and high school level students as they're looking to gain those skills and go into industry. But we have actually seen excellent use of this down into the middle school. And depending on how you scaffold your activities or your lessons, we've seen it go all the way down into the fourth grade quite well. So it can be used at a wide range of levels.
Thanks, Naomi. Yeah, I find Onshape so intuitive and natural. I think it makes perfect sense to me that it would be useful for students of almost any age. Another question is the Onshape Learning Center content that you talked about free even without the Onshape Enterprise account?
Yeah, it is. Everything that we put in there, all of the new content we're coming up with, all the lessons, the projects, the full curriculum, all of that can be accessed for free. You do need to have an Onshape account. You'll have to be registered and logged in, and then you have access to everything.
Great, that's pretty cool. Thanks. I think there's another question coming in here. Just wait a moment for it. And maybe Naomi, you can help with this one too. Is there Onshape training for certifications?
Yeah, right now we do not offer specific training, Onshape training for certifications, but I really suggest that you go check out ITEA. I believe Juana has a link that she'll post in the chat, which will get you in the ballpark. There's quite a bit of stuff on their website to take a look at, though.
Great, thanks. Maybe another question is how do I get one of those awesome Onshape polos? That's a good question. We should we'll come up with maybe some clever contest where that's a prize. We'll see if we can do that. That's for now. I think they're special gifts for those of us who help here with Onshape Live. Do we have training available in other languages, Naomi? Do you know?
So if the commercial team offers boot camps in other languages, but as far as the EDU trainings, those unfortunately right now are just in English.
But that's great to hear that there's interest in seeing that learning content in other languages. Please feel free to reach out to our customer success team and let them know if you'd like to see any of our content localized. We'll certainly take that into consideration and see what we can do. Another question is, does any of our curriculum cover any basic surfacing tools? And I think I can answer this one. None of the education-specific curriculum that we've created to date covers surfacing, but there's tons of Learning Center content, and almost all of it is free, even for education users. And certainly in the Learning Center, there are several courses that cover Onshape surfacing capabilities. So even though it's not specifically for education, you're certainly welcome to leverage it. It's all very well written and very clear. And that would probably be the right place to start if you're trying to understand better how to take advantage of Onshape's surface modeling capabilities. Well, I think that might be it for questions for the moment. Maybe Naomi, could you tell us briefly what's your favorite new part of our piece of content in the Learning Center from the last year or so?
Yeah, wow, it's hard to pick one, right? But, uh, considering where my background is and the things that I can't help but spend a lot of time on is probably the robotics curriculum because
Mm,
I think it's meeting a need in our community that, the robotics community, that, there hasn't been enough out there to help teams get guided, and I know teams have done a great job of kinda crowdsourcing information, but I love the fact that we've been able to take a lot of that information and jam pack it into this great curriculum for people to use for free.
great, great. Thanks, Naomi. Another question came in. I think we still have time. The question is there any difference, limitations, or watermarks in either EDU versions versus the commercial version? And yes, there is a not so much a watermark on the diagram, or sorry, on your models or parts or assemblies or drawings, but in the corner of the document, the icon that appears will show a graduation cap if the document was created in an education version. Um, and there are, but even between the education enterprise version and the commercial enterprise version, some slight differences, but very slight. They are both built on the same basic platform. Certainly, there are some differences between the education standard and enterprise, and maybe we can find a link to the Onshape website. There is a chart that details the specific differences. One more question for you, Naomi. Is the curriculum compatible with learning management systems?
Yeah, a lot of people want to know how they can pull this into an LMS. I agree. So we went ahead and we created our curriculum oftentimes is built in Google Docs, and that gives you the ability to take it and insert it into any LMS of your choice. You take those documents, make a copy of them, go ahead and insert them. We have also seen some teachers copy the contents and then paste them into something like a Canvas page, and they are very easily adaptable to whatever LMS you're using.
Wow, cool. So educators can actually edit those documents and change them if they want.
Yeah, that's a good point, Peter. I forgot to mention that. That's a good thing. You can make the copy of the Google Doc, and if you feel like the wording isn't right for your students, or maybe you want to provide more context on it, you can easily add all of that.
Great, that's really cool. All right. Yeah. I think once again there aren't. Oh no, there another question just popped in. Are there is enterprise free for education institutes, or is there a discount for educators to attend LiveWorks 23? Um, these are sort of two different questions for sure. I think enterprise, we certainly are happy to try to work with anyone to make sure that we can provide Onshape in a way that will meet your needs and fit your budget. So for in terms of is it free, we should please do reach out to our customer success team, education customer success, and we will be happy to work with you to try to make sure that you can afford Onshape. Is there a discount for educators to attend LiveWorks? Also, probably the best way to reach out to find out more is if you can reach out to us directly, and we'll see what we can do. I can't promise that, but we can certainly try to find a way to make it possible for educators to join us at LiveWorks. We'd certainly love to see you there. And maybe is that a good segue, perhaps, Naomi? I think you were going to say a word about
Yeah.
LiveWorks.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about LiveWorks for just a moment. There we go. Okay, so we are getting ready to close up our session. I'm going to wait for the LiveWorks. There we go. We do want to invite you to the PTC LiveWorks that's happening on May 15th through the 18th. It's a 4-day conference, and it's a great way for you to get connected and network with over 6,000 professionals and leaders. So there will be a huge exhibit area, and it's solely devoted to Onshape. We'll have 15 in-depth Onshape breakout sessions and 27 live training sessions where you can sharpen your Onshape skills. There'll also be some dedicated education sessions in the Onshape track, along with some student teams that are presenting their work. So if you're interested in seeing some pretty amazing student work, come check that out. As a special promotion, so this is hopefully help with that answer a little bit. The first 100 Onshape Live attendees who register for LiveWorks 23 will receive complimentary 4-day passes. So just visit liveworks.com/register and enter the code Onshape Live. And this offer does expire by April 14th, so you'll want to take advantage of that today.
Thanks, Naomi. That's great. Great to hear. All right. Well, I think that's it for questions. And so I think that's it for us for today. Thanks so much for attending What's New in Onshape for Education. We're delighted that you were able to attend and that you stuck through with us, and hope to hear from you more about some of the new things we've released for Onshape this year.